This one was a lot of fun. It was a hot night, but nothing a little cold beer couldn't fix, and we had a great time just kind of sharing stories and getting into it. Is just an old-fashioned random show, and those are always a good time. Hopefully you guys enjoy. If I could take a minute and get everybody to just take a second, share this podcast with some friends. We're trying to build it, and just like with the tree business, the best way to get started is word of mouth. So if you could tell your friends, that'd be awesome. Those 5-star reviews really help on different platforms for the podcast to be found. When they're getting 5-star reviews and people are writing positive reviews, it helps with their algorithm. I don't really understand how it works, but supposedly that helps get the word out, and it helps get the podcast seen by more people. So if you got a minute to go on to iTunes and just write a little 5-star review, we'll read it, and it'll be doing the show a favor. So that'd be much appreciated. And like always, we love your input. So send us an email at treethinkingpodcast@gmail.com. Yeah, without further ado, we're going to take care of some business and then get right to it.
This podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not, nor is it intended to be, a substitute for professional arboriculture advice and should never be relied upon to perform or direct arboricultural work. The Tree Thinking Podcast makes no representations as to the accuracy, completeness, or suitability of any information on this podcast and will not be liable for any damages arising from the use of any information in the practice of arboriculture or tree work. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the guests, and their appearance on the podcast does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The podcast and its hosts are not to be held responsible for misuse, cited, and or uncited copies of the content within this podcast by others. The Tree Thinking Podcast may not be reproduced or distributed without the express written consent of the Tree Thinking Podcast.
With the summer's first heat wave in full effect, the temperature was rising at the Tree Thinking studio, and the crew was ready to go. Because we don't let the heat stop us from getting our job done, especially when our job is drinking beer and talking trees. This week on the Tree Thinking Podcast, we kick back and share some stories about sending tops, get into the gear talk, things heat up when Jake the Rake goes straight at D-Rake. We are a little steady and a little smooth, and eventually we find our groove on high temps, cold beer, and stories from the field. All right. It is hot. We're ready to go. Get in some stories from the field. We're going to talk to Jake the Rake and just chop it up a little bit. But before that, my name's Andrew.
I'm Jamie.
Becca.
And Corey.
I look forward to this. It'll be fun to hear from our buddy Jake after that message that we got last time. Used it as the intro, man. That was too funny.
Yeah.
What a legend.
Oh, yeah, man. Changing the raking game. All right. Well, while we wait to hear from Nate, does anybody have any stories they want to tell?
Becca, you sound like you had one.
Oh, yeah. So last night I was just sitting at home after work, and I was looking at some videos on Instagram of some pretty cool arborists doing some tree work, And I noticed one of them, they sent a big, a huge log, maybe 20 feet, just chunked out this, they were doing a removal and rigging it out, negative rigging. And I just saw the swiftness from when they went to make their back cut, when the log's kind of teetering a little bit, and then you harness the chainsaw, and then you push it over. Mm-hmm. And I just noticed how seamless it was. And I realized that it's because they're the chainsaw is a right-handed instrument. And I'm like, man, why can't I make it look that slick? And it's because I have my carrot tool on my left side on my saddle. I'm a left-handed person. So I just automatically put it there. And I'm thinking about it now, I have to take the saw, move it across my body, across my ropes to start it, do the work, hit the chain brake, move it back across my body and my ropes, and then put it back in the saddle, which is it's fucking stupid. Why am I doing that? And I just had this revelation, and it's wild to me that I can just like watch. I'm like, nobody told me.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're practicing with it, if that's what you know, I mean, you'll get good and, you know, seamless with it too eventually, I think.
That's true.
It does make sense that it's a right-handed tool and maybe the right hand is a little slicker. But,
yeah.
But I could see it going either way.
I just
Johnny brought up our last episode. I think he said Lawrence Schultz sent out a challenge for arborists to switch everything on their harness to the other side.
Yeah.
Just to try it out, you know, because we're using all these muscles for one side of the body just to try it out. And I thought about doing it, but that's kind of
that makes a lot of
interesting.
sense ergonomically.
Oh yeah.
I've been considering just moving my carrot tool to the right side of my saddle and to see if it's a little bit smoother, because, you know, in those moments like right before when you have like just a little bit of hinge on something, and you're like, okay, time to like put this stuff away and be really safe, and then like push it over or try to crack it off. You know, it's just, I have this like this journey to make across everything and like through, you know, and yeah.
I love the feeling of rigging out a top and you hit that chain brake and get your saw racked as it's going over. And
Oh,
you're
man.
ready. You know,
Yeah.
it's the best.
And then you get your hands on the
Yep.
spar
Yeah.
to help like rock yourself.
Brace the sway.
Yeah. It's such a timing thing of like finish the back cut, pull it on, hook it on, put the hands on, and then I'll put my elbows kind of into my gut if it's a big top, because then you're really braced. You're like locked in there where it can shake you pretty good and you're not going anywhere if you kind of keep those elbows in. But
There's never an instance where I'm like over on my left side using the saw. You know, I always like will move it to the right of my rope.
Yeah. Well, and
So it doesn't
I'd
make
say
any sense that it's on
try
the
it
left
out.
side. I can't believe I went so long without being like,
Well, like I said,
this is stupid.
I think it would work either way. You know, you can make it work just fine. But yeah, try it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
and
get another carrot tool. You just have one carrot tool.
Yeah.
Just do like half the removal on one side and then half the removal on the other. It's
there
just
you go. Or better yet, 2 chainsaws.
fuck yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
now we're talking.
Equal weight distribution.
Double one hand in the
like, double throw.
Is this safe, OSHA?
Yeah.
Am I safe now?
Yeah. No, I've got the on my right side I have the hook, just the one that's just made for a saw.
There's no gate on it.
There's no gate on it. Yep. So you can just hook it. And then the other side I have 2 gates over there, or the Rock Exotica ones with the gate.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't be too hard to just switch over. I just use one of those gate ones. I just have to move my gear to the other side.
Yeah.
But
Do you have like the DMM one?
to be honest, I don't remember
what it's called, but it's red and it looks shiny and
The Vault?
nice.
The Vault?
Yes, I
Yeah.
think that's what it is.
The Vault is DMMs, and then Rock Exoticas is the transporter.
I think I've
That
got.
sounds right.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
It
no,
looked
that
good at the time. Yeah.
The transporters are nice because they're a lot bigger than the Vaults, I feel like. They've got a wider opening for them.
Yeah. See, I like the hook because it's smaller.
Yeah.
And because those big ones with the gates, it seems like they're all in a thick tree. They're just always grabbing stuff, and that drives me
Can
crazy.
be the case, yeah.
Yeah.
The carrot tool was like a gift, and I'm like, oh, this is great. And then, like, the plastic always breaks off of those in like 2 days.
What are you talking about? Carrot tools last forever.
I keep buying them. I don't know. They're like $9.
But the plastic, I mean, it's the price is right, and they serve the purpose and everything. But and it also took me forever to figure out that you can like put them in the webbing in your saddle.
Oh, yeah,
man.
yeah.
I was like, at first, I was just like hanging it off the side, like it was like a
Man, I gotta look at your saddle.
oh
Becca.
man, I know. I'm
I
like,
gotta go over some things.
things keep happening where I'm like, nobody told me.
We'll get you set up.
You guys are
You
just
tie
like, man,
you tie
why are you
into
so
the
bad at
bridge?
this?
What?
Yeah. We're over here like, look how Becca's got that set up.
I'm like, this is how you do it, right?
Oh, yeah. Just keep going like
Yeah, you're
that.
doing great. But, like, she'll figure it out in like 3 months, 5 months, a year, whatever.
And then we can laugh at her.
Oh man. Well, you know
But
what? Whatever.
That's also a cool thing about all this gear is all of our harnesses are different. We all like dial it into like what we like, you know. like I probably couldn't just throw Corey's setup on and be comfortable, you know?
No.
Yeah.
It's true, yeah.
Mine is a very uncomfortable setup, mostly
Yeah.
because I have my entire climb bag on my saddle.
Well, you're like a super DIY guy, which I admire. Like you really dial in your kit to like what you like. You made yourself a kilt to like protect the.
Oh, yeah.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Explain
badass.
what it is again.
It's just a piece of like fake leather that wraps around my legs and stops the saw from snagging. Because I carry mine on the side. I don't carry it dangling down like
Yeah.
how saws are supposed to be carried. I carry it from the side
wrap.
handle. Yeah, the wrap handle. Yeah, I've got an extra carabiner on there, and so it's always sitting flat on my saddle. So it always, with saw pants, they're always like raking up against the back and like snagging fabric, and I got tired of it, so I made myself a kilt.
Nice.
So
Great.
instead of just
Safety kilt.
clipping your saw the way most people do and hanging it there, you decide
Well-
you get a pleather kilt.
Well,
yeah, yes.
Nice.
a saw hung the traditional way, where it's the bars facing down toward your ankles.
Yeah.
Like that's where you'll see your saw pants getting kind of ripped up from the yeah.
Corey is so DIY. He made a knee ascender out of a dog leash once.
I still have it.
I'm
Sweet.
sure it still functions. It's like bungee cords and dog leash and duct tape, and I'm like, what
Actual
the
ascender.
fuck?
That it has it's based around an actual piece of climbing equipment.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
so
I
the
got-
so
I
the
bought
core.
one piece of actual stuff, and I
So you
kinda,
yeah. Then you just kind of.
Oh no, because I was in the market for like a decent knee ascender for the longest time. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, yeah, someone get me a dog leash because I really liked using yours.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I think you're the only one.
Yeah.
Because it's a fucking dog leash.
I mean, but it works. Like I was like, oh, it's really like eating up this rope on the ascent. This is great.
Cool. Good fit.
Something to it.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever want it,
Woof.
it's all yours. Because I don't like it that much.
Oh man, no, it was great.
Have you DIY'd something better?
No, not yet. I'm just gonna buy an actual knee ascender.
I want to make one. I love the notch jet step, but the strap is like
Garbage.
It's garbage. It's the biggest downfall, But the
Aw.
ascender itself, I love. But everyone complains about the strap, and there's a reason. It's kind of hard to tighten and stuff. But it finally gave
That's
out
true.
on me.
Oh,
And when a strap breaks on your foot ascender while you're ascending, is a shit your pants kind of moment. You're just cruising up. Oh, this is great. This beautiful tree. Oh my god, what happened? Oh shit. But I kind of want to turn it into a knee ascender. I've had the idea. I haven't,
I should show you the one I
haven't executed it.
I should show you the one I made for the city setup. It's not ideal, but it's pretty slick. I spliced it.
You
Yeah.
spiced it up.
I spiced it up.
Nice.
Made myself a little knee ascender, foot ascender.
Out of the jet step?
Not out of the jet
Okay.
step. I just used like a Haas ascender.
Yeah.
And I just clipped it up.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
I'll show you the
Sweet.
picture
Yeah.
of it. Well, we could definitely figure something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe save that for the splicing episode. Episode.
could
Nice.
have
Yeah,
a
we need
whole
to make that happen.
DIY tree gear
This is-
episode.
Bringing up a few stories as we're talking here. So I might go with one. Talking about equipment failures, like my foot ascender failing on me while I was ascending a tree. This wasn't really an equipment failure. Becca was there for this. We were doing a good sized cottonwood for a backyard. It was actually day 2 of the removal. And I climb with the ART positioner on my lanyard.
Oh,
I think you guys do too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love those things.
it's great.
But like you've probably had it happen to you where you bump that handle and it like gives you a little whoop.
Hundreds
Little
of
jerk.
times.
Yeah. So I am climbing this cottonwood, going out on a lead to like take the top out. Got the top out, then I'm going to do a snap cut. And I notice I'm at a steep rope angle. And how sometimes your positioner and your ropes will get kind of jumbled when you're at a steep angle.
Yeah.
So I noticed that, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is better if I move this over the top of my rope or whatever. So I reclipped it. I was like, oh, okay, everything looks good. And then I leaned forward to do the snap cut, and it just opened wide up, and I went, vroom, like zipped over, It was like
So
horizontal,
Yeah.
But I think it hit my bridge when I was moving forward.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And it was more than just a jolt. It stayed open for a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did the bridge continually engage it, or did it just open it just enough and then slid?
It must have continually engaged it
Continually
because
engaged it.
because normally if it just bumps it,
it just
it's gonna re-grab. But yeah, I slid away from that for a little bit.
Yeah.
It was super scary.
I actually had that happen to me not last weekend, but the weekend before that. It wasn't not as extreme as yours, but it did. I can't remember. It was in Doug Firs, and I think I was out on one of these limbs, and same kind of thing, out on an extreme rope angle, and I think it was my rope and prusik that actually engaged it, and it didn't slide as extreme as yours, but it was not comfortable kind of thing.
I was probably guessing 5 feet of it being open,
Jeez.
It was significant.
It was a bit.
I just heard you go, whoa, shit. And
Yeah.
and you had the saw was running too.
Yeah, because I was getting ready to do a snap cut. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
exciting.
I just heard him go, whoa, shit, with the saw running. And I look up, he's sideways. I'm like, all right, bud.
It's funny. It made me realize if I'm ever gonna die or something, I'm just gonna say whoa, because there's been a few moments where something's happened and I just go whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I had a guy that always used to say,
His last words were, whoa.
whoa. Yeah, I had a guy that was always like, be ready. You got to have your last words. You got to know your last words because you don't want to, on the way down, you only got so much time to think of it. But there's no way you're remembering your last words on the way down.
No, 90% of the last words are "oh shit" or "oh fuck" or something like that.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
My friend's got a Ronin that has just getting a little worn out, the Ronin electrical senders.
Yeah.
And there's a lever on it for the brake. But normally you'll ascend, and then when you let go, it just stops you. His will creep down a little bit, and you have to engage the lever. It won't free fall you. They have a governor on him to slow you down as you go down.
Called the governor.
Yeah, well, that's what I'd say. That's what I'd call it.
There's legislation.
But I wasn't aware of that when I used it once. That's when I realized. I go up. We're doing that habitat job, so these are massive fir trees, and I'm way up there, 120 feet, and then I let off this thing, and it starts slipping, and I go, whoa, 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 whoa. They're on the ground laughing. I instinctively hit the lever, and they're all laughing and told me what to do.
So does the Ronin, does it have replaceable parts, or once it's...
Got Jake.
Whoa.
Hello?
Did I get through?
Oh, there you are, buddy.
Hello? Is this the Tree Thinkers?
Oh, you made it. Here we are.
What's up, Jake?
All right. Oh, not much. How are you guys?
Another beautiful day.
Oh, indeedy.
Yeah, it's a little hot in the garage. We're just
we're just taking a sauna, doing a podcast.
sharing stories.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you up
Sweaty,
to?
that's what I'm talking about. I'll get a little sweaty myself. I just kind of dip my tootsies in the river and feeling really good.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep. I was digging that intro on the beat, man. I was kind of having this weird day, a little bummed out, and then I heard that beat, and I was like, "Oh yeah, take your time," and then life is good again, just like that.
There we go. That's what we're trying to do, is make people's lives a little bit better. If we just can do that a little bit, we're succeeding.
Yeah, and
You freaking nailed it.
I heard on your voicemail to Andrew that you wanted to spit a little something.
Oh yeah, man. I can get that beat out of my head. I just love it.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
It's just when I'm out there raking, I'm just like, these words come into my head, and I'm like, ooh yeah, it just feels right.
Nice. Well, hey man, if you need to get some rhymes off your chest, we can fire up that beat whenever you want.
We got a soapbox here for you.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, it might help me a little bit. I've been kind of getting a little down. I heard this guy named D-Rake, I think he's called. He's like a rapper or something.
Oh, Drake?
Oh, is that what his name is?
Yeah.
D-Rake.
Oh, I guess that's not as bad. I got all worked up. My old dog's name is D-Rake. I was like, you better not steal my dog's name, dog. And I don't even know this guy. So I started listening to his stuff, and it's just terrible. Oh my God. I got some pretty aggressive thoughts in my head. It might help. It might, maybe if I get it out and then he hears it, maybe we could like come to terms one day and have it be cool or something.
Nice.
Nice. Just tell me when you want me to fire it up.
Do you want the intro?
Oh, really?
Intro
Yeah, we
beat?
got
Yeah,
it.
you want
like
the
a
intro?
fresh beat?
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of really bad beats I could play for you if you want to pick one out.
I mean, not necessarily the intro beat. That's kind of pure, I don't want to drool all over that one.
All right.
I mean, yeah, I'll give me a beat. I'm feeling it, I guess.
Well, we'll see. First, listen to the beat and then decide.
We got DJ Myron.
Okay.
Oh, it's a little funky.
Oh, that's it. That's the one. That funky old school shit. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Drake, I guess your name is now. Sounds like almost like Afro Man or something. Okay. I guess they call you the champagne poppy. Compared to my cleanup game, your flow is sloppy. Maybe lay off the bubbles and have some coffee. Because my mom's 88 Taurus wagon makes the Maybach look like a jalopy. Use a soft one, Drake, next to Jake the Rake. Use a soft one, Drake, next to the Rake. Ooh, that feels pretty good. Now, here I come, Drake. You ready? You look nice in your red All-State polo shirt, Drake. You're far from heady. I wear tie-dye when I rake. You better be ready. I'm not a preppy, but I am a prepper. Jamie knows my mom's basement is spicy. She has stores of pepper. Black and white in corn and powder form. Bring your COVID mask and something warm. Yo, Drake, you'll be in a cold sweat after my mom's jalapenos and habaneros. Grab a towel, here comes the serranos and Himes and sheets of chichitos. Some cayenne and the goose got you rolling down the windows. Just pumping and shaking down to your toes. You're crying for some milk like a little bambino. But all you getting is a little raw powder poblano or chile relleno. There's no fryer down here. All I got is a straw and some salty beer. All my mom's offerings put aside. There's no place in down here for you to hide. So if you're a bear or you're a rooster, all we got is pepper spray for your ugly ass face. Oh, what? Throw them down the rope ladder, Andrew.
Sick.
Somebody should have warned Drake.
Yeah.
I'm kind of feeling a little spicy here. I got a little blue. Is that beat still going?
No, you ran that beat right into the ground. That being said, we can fire it up again if you want.
You got another one? Another beat?
I mean, it's almost off my chest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll be in a good spot after this. Yeah, give me something else. I like that funky old school stuff. Sounds good.
That's a new one.
Ooh, modern. Okay. Okay. We're still down in the underground lair. Haven't gotten out yet, Drake. You're in trouble now. Because the underground bunker had storage space. That's where I keep my extra rig. What you need, we got grips and grips of grips. Like banana clips, all just of sticks. A whole shelf of wing nuts. Tighten heads on fast, like Andrew's feet keep burning your butt. Yeah. Jamie's been down there. He knows what's up. He's even got his name on his special cup. He helped build the bunker from the very beginning. That's why my mom made him a stocking to hang right after Thanksgiving. Yeah, Drake. You're the weakest dude in rap right now. Like some modern day Vanilla Ice or something, Sitting on the Toronto Raptors sidelines, cheerleading because they ain't got no game. Just a scrub, doing all-state commercials and shit. Jake will never sell out. Waking you up like some old pine needles that y'all stuck together and shit. This is too easy for me, Drake. You better change his name. Yeah.
Nice.
Boy, that's
I'm worried we may have started something in the streets.
I don't know. We're just playing around, man.
Yeah, we don't want T-Dot to be up against all the rakers out there.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool that you guys answer the phone. really feel like a bean in your pod now.
Oh yeah, no, you're one of the best beans.
Sweetest
What do
bean.
you? Nice. What are you guys getting into later?
We're just
You know?
We're just telling stories at this point.
just kind of a random story show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, nothing
nice.
exciting. You got any good stories from the field?
Yeah. I worked with Becca and Jamie this week. It's been just a great week. That's where I got that one rhyme about all the needles that be sticking to the rake. It's just like so easy. I think we did Becca had me doing some kind of like pine cleanup job today. Obviously contract raking. Like she had some kind of scientific thing. I don't know what was wrong with these trees, but she figured it out like Detective Dendro. And I think she just made me clean up all these old needles that were underneath all these pine trees for some reason, but they were just sticking to the razorback. It was like so easy.
Yeah, it was pretty
You just
sick.
grab an old club. Why did you have me clean those up?
Well, Jake, we those trees, those ponderosa pines, they seem to have some significant dieback. So the client there wanted the needles to be removed because they had Lophodermella needle cast. Maybe I'm not saying that right. Lophodermella,
That's gonna be hard to
LOPHO.
fit into a wrap.
Yeah. No, it's gnarly. But basically what happens is it's a fungal pathogen, and it puts these like football-shaped spores on needles that the ponderosa pine then drops. It also affects lodgepole pines and one other, white pine, I think.
Western white.
Yeah.
Can you say what it is again?
Lophodermella.
Okay.
And again, that might be a bastard pronunciation of it, but it's LOPHODERMELLA.
Have Andrew read it. He'll get
It's
it.
a needle cast. Yeah.
Lofa de Mello.
Loafer. It's like
Loafer dentata.
Camarillo Brillo.
That's it.
Yeah. So we were raking up, man. This whole backyard was just covered in these needles with all these little spores on them. So we just had to kind of rake them all up. And you know what, Jake? I'm glad you brought the Razorbacks because they came in clutch. Like I don't think we could have done that job without those Razorbacks.
I know, right? They were just
And
they
your
were just like
talents.
machines.
Wow, I got to actually see you raking in person.
Oh wow,
It's like,
my pleasure.
wow. Yeah. No, not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah. Some jobs you just got to go get a contractor for when the level of expertise is so much higher than what you got on the crew.
Yeah.
You just have to go out and be like, man, these leaves are going to be intense. We need to get a raker in here to clean up all these needles.
It was like practically embarrassing, like having him on the crew today.
Oh,
Because he just
No,
like crushed it.
that's not
I'm like, oh man, this guy's like obviously. And
Well,
yeah.
it's nothing to be like ashamed of hiring a contract raker. I mean, you guys are good at the climbing and the sciencey stuff and the biology and talking to the clients. That's really hard for me. I just like talking to you guys and listening to the pod. I just have my headphones on and they think I'm a weirdo. But I don't really care. I got my little niche here, and you guys appreciate my skills. So I'm like, I would contract you guys to climb. That scares the bejesus out of me.
Well,
So it's okay to hire a contract raker. Jamie even did it once this week. Oh, you know what Jamie did though?
What's that?
He really tested the durability of the new shaft of the Razorback. He's like, this is the one that you gave me to test out, and sure enough, maybe it wasn't Jamie, but somebody like threw a log on the Razorback while it was like in the back somewhere by accident, and it shattered.
Yep.
It did.
I
So,
found it. It might have been me. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna tape it up. And we'll keep using it.
Keep on raking
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
I feel like if I
With,
get tape like all the way down the handle, like that'll hold it.
Yeah.
We'll try
Oh
it.
man, you should like patent some rake tape. Jake.
We used to tape our rakes at Sperry back in the day because they would, were breaking so much that people started taping it beforehand. And what it ended up doing is,
pre-tape.
pre-taping the rakes. And what it ended up doing is it would hold the moisture in right at where the tape met the rake. And so it would start rotting and it would create like this real weak point where that would start breaking the rakes. Yeah, so we'd have to really engineer something.
But the Razorback's not a wood handle rake.
Yeah.
So the moisture might not be
That's
as
true.
much of an issue.
Well, we might need to get some of that hockey tape and tape Razorback with the hockey tape. And, that'd be next level.
Hockey tape rake.
Yep.
Hockey tape break. Put on
Wow,
the tape.
this is all really good product research you guys are doing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Razorback is still like a little baby as far as longevity goes. It just came out, so we're putting it through its sweeps.
Yeah,
as you
well,
might say.
I mean, so far the only downsides I see to the Razorback are it's not log smashing proof.
Yeah.
And also, its handle is like it's black. So when it's hot outside, as it has been lately, and you leave that rake out in the sun, you go to grab it, gloves or no gloves, that fucking hurts,
Yeah.
So maybe some tape on that rake, maybe, or like put a little koozie on it. I don't know. What's the solution,
Ooh.
Jake? You're the expert.
Rake koozie.
Rake koozie. Well, you could tape it and then just tape a koozie right to it.
You know what you could do? You
Double
could yarn
insulation.
Oh.
bomb it. You could yarn bomb the rake handle so that it's not so hot when you go to pick it up, right?
Yeah. No, I like it.
Flawless.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's the evolution of the ground game over here.
I was just working with some buddies, and they brought up the Razorback. I didn't mention it at all,
Really?
Yeah, they brought it up, said they were looking for it. It was Dakota. I think we all know Dakota.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then Charles uses the Razorback, but he was saying he was looking for one, and they're hard to find right now. But I think it's because Jake was buying
don't
up
know
the
anything.
stock.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
How many Razorbacks do you have there, Jake?
Don't worry about it. I got my mom's basement. There's a lot down. I got some stores. You might say I'm ready.
Yeah, I heard that it's hard to get a Razorback between Seattle and San Francisco right now.
So weird. I wouldn't know.
Oh, boy.
Well, cool. I can't wait to preemptively tape. So you think like the regular athletic tape is good, or duct tape, or electrical tape?
I'd try that athletic tape that, people put on their baseball bats or on hockey sticks, that kind of stuff. I'd imagine,
Okay.
it'd actually, you'd be able to hold on to the rake a little better.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm excited.
And so, like, had back in hockey, we used to wrap it around and then twist the roll up and kind of wrap a bead around it and then wrap it again to create an extra bump on there to hold the stick a little tighter.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if that would help with the rake.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to do some R&D here.
Maybe tennis tape. Get some, like, dampening going on so you don't get an arm pump as bad when you're really getting
You
into it.
don't want rake elbow going on.
Yeah.
That's a serious.
Rake elbow is
Rake
real.
elbow's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. That can end a career.
Sure. Yeah, we got to take care of our bodies.
Yeah, 100%. Right on.
Gotta
man.
rake care of them.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, I'm really excited to try this preemptive taping. I think some added padding, as long as it's stiff enough, would be good. With some of that grip, that athletic tape will be great. It's real soft on the hands, enough to like just hold whatever that grip is inside there, like the koozie you're talking about.
Yeah.
But we might need to move more towards carbon fiber technology to make it light enough to facilitate that. Oh, hey, what did you think of my name for our new hippity hop group that's burgeoning right now?
Oh,
like
was it
the onboard facilitators.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I
No,
like it.
I think we'll need to put out an album under that title.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's keep it going then.
I think we call it Jake the Rake and the Onboarded Facilitators.
Oh, no. No, this is definitely going to be a team effort here.
Yeah.
We're
All right,
just
so we
beans in the
each
pot.
got to write a rap. We each got to write a track.
Okay.
Yeah.
We each
Can-
need
can
to
they
come
all
up with
be-
16 bars.
Yep.
Diss and D-rake.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I got, obviously Jamie and Becker have their own performer names. Like, it's like too easy because it's J Schleezy and B Sneezy.
Jay Reezy.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
We got C Sheezy,
ABC.
ABC.
ABC. Yeah.
Well, that might be A Money. I think A Money.
A-Money.
Money.
That flows a little better. What about Corey? Corey Shields.
Sea Dog.
C Sheezy.
She's easy. Oh, she. See, sheezy.
I do like be sneezy though.
Yeah.
Especially anytime I
Yeah.
actually sneeze, I'm like,
You do have
There
good
I
sneezes.
am.
That's my name.
Seeing the cheesy,
spitting those
you know,
reps.
Oh man.
Achoo.
Yeah, be sneezy and the heezy. Yes, she's the cheesy.
Yeah.
She kicks so hard sometimes that her palms get greasy.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should start out with 4 bars. Like Damian Lillard has the 4-bar Friday challenge. We'll have to each come up with 4 bars for the 4-bar Friday
Okay.
challenge.
All right. Next time,
Yeah.
4-bar challenge.
That'll be the
Yeah.
next Friday.
Oh man. Next Friday or so.
It's tough. Sometimes the juices aren't flowing, but once that beat starts, it's hard not to feel a little funky in your toes.
Oh man. Yeah, this could get out of control.
Real quick.
Yeah, just hopefully Jake or Drake doesn't get, too offended and we don't start anything too serious.
Somebody should have
I'm-
warned Drake.
Yeah, yeah,
I
someone
don't
should
know
have
how
warned
he
him.
could not get. I don't know how he could not get wind of this episode of what
Yeah, I know.
on the AM airwaves. Like, can you hear it in Japan or something if you have a ham radio?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think something like that. Like that's what they mean by going ham.
Yeah.
You could hear TreeThinking.
Yeah, you might need your 8-track to be able to dial into us, but some people do. So,
Well, all right, I'll let you guys go. I know you got a lot of cooking in the kitchen.
all right. Well, we got something. We'll see what we got, man. But thanks for coming on and telling your stories, spitting some flow, and yeah. Well,
Thanks
I
for
guess we
bringing
all
it
have our
down.
homework.
Yep.
All heroes
Yeah.
rock rakes.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a T-shirt right there.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Hey man, thanks again for helping me out earlier too. I'll forward you, that Wendy's Frosty that I promised you
Yeah,
earlier.
you owe me. You
Yeah.
said you were talking coupons.
I
Let's
know.
do a coupon.
I know. It'll be a strawberry milkshake. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah,
great. That'll be
yeah.
nice for these really hot days. The Frosty, some kind of I could eat
Frosty.
those in December, but when it gets really hot like this, the strawberry's good. But I might need a ride.
Right on. Yeah. I'll call your mom. For it. I'll get in touch with your mom about it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she said you know how to give a good ride. So, we'll work something out.
Oh yeah.
All right, dude.
All right, man.
Keep it real.
We'll talk to you later, brother.
All right, bye.
See you, Jake.
Bye.
It's always a pleasure.
You never know where it's going when
Yeah,
Jake the
okay.
Rake comes on.
He's gonna need a ride to get that strawberry shake.
Oh,
Man.
man, we're gonna need to put some time in the lab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to get that beat CD back out.
Yeah, yeah. Dig deep into the crates.
Well, what were we talking about before?
Oh jeez, we were
Becca
going
was
on.
telling us a story.
I finished telling my story, which is basically why am I so dumb? Everything I have is backwards.
Yeah, we're talking
Right.
about the positioner. And
Yeah.
That's right. Maybe
Oh,
Corey
yeah.
was.
Don't remember.
I lost it. I had mine come open on me as well in a conifer.
Yeah.
That was it.
Your ART,
ART.
2.
ART2 positioner.
So I've been looking at getting one of those.
You should do it.
They're
But-
sweet.
Okay, so the reason I haven't gotten it is because it's so like if you just like feather it, it just seems like it opens wide up.
Yeah.
You can adjust it.
There's a
you
learning
get
curve.
used to it.
It's jumpy.
Mm-hmm.
I wear gloves when I climb, so I'll almost like put my thumb on the rope in front of it as like
Yeah.
a little friction point when I go to open it up. Because like the first time I used it, it's like whoa, like it
That's-
opens
yeah.
up a lot, but it grabs immediately, and
Mhm.
it's tending it like 2 fingers. You pull the rope, it's so smooth. You're not like
Yeah.
fighting the
So
hitch.
smooth.
I was in a
So
pitchy
smooth.
pine today, and I had a hitch on my wire core flip line, and I'm just like all my muscle like fighting the pitch. Like, oh, I missed my positioner.
Yeah.
I still am just like running a Prussic on my lanyard with the ice that you gave me like 2
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
It
Wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
wasn't. It
I-
feels that long.
Yeah.
The way it looks.
Yeah, I got some hitches kicking around.
Well, and I think you
Let's
should
go
just,
over your climb gear next
Yeah.
week.
You know, I think it'd behoove us all to everyone bring their everything and we'll all just like cross inspect.
Yeah.
And I think that's a cool practice for any like group or team of people in any situation because like we were talking about one episode too a few times back that like like that carabiner's sticky, but I know it is because it's for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But having someone be like, "Hey, your rope is like kind of fucked. Maybe you should get a new one," or this and that.
We should do a show where we all bring our gear in, cross inspect it, and then just go over the little things that we find.
Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, because like you say, you get used to. Me and Corey just did it at the city.
You
You
get
know,
so complacent.
And you find little things that
Like Andrew you caught me on I was using a rigging carabiner as my termination point, which only had, it was a double lock, not
Yeah.
a triple lock. And I had never even like thought about it. It's like auto locking steel carabiner, I'm good. And I didn't like put it together that I was only doing 2 motions.
Oh, interesting.
just little things you don't think about. You know, like I think it was Craig that was talking about how, you know, when you're cross-checking, you know, that sticky carabiner might not bother you because you've gotten so used to it. So I think there'd be some value into going over our private gear, cross-checking it, and then just doing a show about that whole process.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
it's an important practice.
I wanted to make a point. I talked about gear failures and then talked about my positioner opening up. That wasn't a gear failure. It worked just fine. It caught itself.
Yeah.
But it was just, it's funny because I noticed things were weird and I was like, oh, I need to fix this. But the way I put it actually ended up causing it to open it up and hit my bridge. It's
Yeah.
funny because I realized that. I was like, oh, this is going to open up.
Yep.
But I just, it wasn't a gear failure. It was a user error.
Well, when you use those long enough, you learn how to, like, where to put what rope, and you figure out, as I turn this way, it could open up. And
Yeah.
you know, it's the trial and error, just like learning how the sensitivity,
Yeah.
which is funny because I do the same thing where I take a little bit of the friction with my hand, but I do it from behind. So I'll grab the rope behind it and then just kind of open it up by pulling on the little
Andrew
lever.
prefers it from behind.
Aw.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Thought that was between you and me, Corey.
But
Well, now 100 of our listeners know.
I talked about how I had a few stories in my head, and we were talking about kind of bracing yourself for when a top comes over.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
This is a story. I've probably told you guys about it. This is when I was like a newish climber. And at the time, how I was taught to like do removals, like conifer removals especially, was like double lanyard. So my climbing system and my lanyard, a wire cord flip line, were both connected to my hip rings around the trunk. So I guess I had 2 tie-ins. They weren't 2 different points on my harness, but it was just 2 ropes on my hip rings. You guys get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
the upper D's. You
Yep.
had both of them
Both
on the
of
upper
them
D's.
on my upper D's, and you would just spike up like that, do the whole removal like that. Eventually, someone showed me like, hey, like a contract climber that I learned a lot from, Doug Tripp. If you're in the P&W, you probably know Doug, great guy. The story came to my mind from us talking about like bracing yourself for tops. You know?
Yeah.
And then I had mentioned when I first started, I learned to remove conifers by just like double lanyard climb system and lanyard on your hip rings, and you just spike up and you just do the removal like that, you know.
Yeah, so no girth hitch to the trunk.
No choking system.
Yeah.
And you know, my climbing system wasn't on my bridge.
Yeah.
And
That's, I mean,
It's
I
weird.
did that for years.
yeah, you're just shown that, and that's just the way it is. So I just did that. And then I'd mentioned Doug Tripp. I was climbing next to him doing some smallish pines, and
We
he
need to get
noticed.
Doug on this show.
Yeah, I'll have to call. Yeah, that'd be great. He noticed that I was doing that. He's like, "Hey, man, why don't you put that climbing system here? You can throw it up over the limb above you, and then you're all nice and comfortable. You can grab this limb, swing over here, and throw this." And I was like, "Duh, yeah." And so I don't really recall the timeline if this was before or after that. I have a video of this incident I'm about to talk about, so I'll have to look. I know I wasn't using a choking system, but I wasn't sure if I was double lanyard or if I had, you know, my climbing system actually on my bridge and a lanyard on my hip rings. I don't remember. But I was doing a ponderosa pine removal, probably 120, 130 foot tree or something like that. And again, this is a couple years ago, so I'm just kind of remembering that. Started the removal with the boom truck, and we had a 60-foot boom, so we maxed that out, and then I climbed out of the boom and kept going up. It's actually the first time I used a speed line. It was on that tree too, so that was fun.
Nice.
Climbing out of the bucket, a harrowing experience, and then zip lining, so much fun. And then I get to the top, and I'm still a newish climber, like I said, and a little nervous, so getting any higher was kind of scary. And the top was big that I was about to take, but it seemed like totally manageable. You know, we had to rig the top out. There was all these targets below us. So I put my face cut in and do the back cut, or check with the ground. Everyone's ready to go. We got the wraps on the porter wrap, whatever. And do the back cut. The top goes. And I don't know, like I said, I have a video, and I don't know if the top didn't run or if it was just the sway from the tree and the top coming off, because it was a big top and a lot of stuff. But I was positioned to the side, right? So I was positioned. I've learned now that when you're doing a back cut, taking a top, catching a top, you want to be behind it, because your spikes will like dig in and catch that sway of the tree, and you can brace yourself much better. But I was on the side of the tree, and you know, it jerked back, and I gaffed out. And like I said, no choking system. I'm about 100 feet up on a pole. And, you know, in the video, you see the saw dangling below me, and I'm just hugging this tree super tight, just terrified. And, they called up, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Kind of got my bearings. And you know, my buddy Doug, we'd talked about it afterwards, and, you know, he told me, you know, being behind it is so much better.
Yeah.
And why. And then I learned about choking systems after that. It was a big learning experience.
Yeah.
That top was doable. It was big, but it was doable. I just wasn't positioned right. Pretty damn scary.
Yeah, those big whippers can, even if you're okay, even if, you know, because that can be a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
But even if everything works out, you know, talk about definitive moments, you know, where you learn something, those can be that for sure.
Yeah, and it never happened again since, you know.
Yeah.
I always stand behind my face cuts and stuff now.
Well, and a lot of that can also be when the lower down guy, you know, doesn't let it run.
Yeah, so I don't know if it locked up or if it was just like the forces of the tree coming off. I don't remember.
Yeah, which is, I mean, ideally you're not taking such a big top that if they don't let it run,
It's going to be
a disaster.
Yeah.
But you see those, you see a lot of fails with those, and what happens is they take too big of a top and they send a big top, it loads it, and then it breaks.
Yeah.
And that's where you see people get those real bad whippers, because it just pulls it way in one direction, and then the rope snaps, and then it just freaking releases all that energy at once. And, you know, that's when you see the guys whipping around the trunk and, you know, getting out of control.
That's terrifying.
I've seen videos of how the angle of your face cut, like how wide or how open it is, can affect the sway of the tree after a top comes off.
Interesting.
Because I think, and I'm gonna get these wrong. I should almost look these up first. But I think like a 45-degree, say, face cut is probably like traditional.
Yeah.
But there's a certain point. I think it's when that tree top is about 45 degrees, is going to be when that stem is pushed back at the maximum
Interesting.
amount.
Yeah.
So when that pops off, you're really going to feel it. Whereas if you have a wider face, maybe it comes back from that. So it's not going to spring as much.
Yeah, because you think about the energy as it's going down that first 45, it's
pushing
pushing
that
directly
stem
into
back.
it. But once it starts going below, the energy is slowly releasing, and it's allowing it to right itself. I haven't really thought about that a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because you just kind of get in a rhythm of putting a face cut in and going through the routine. And we're all taught do it at a 45-degree angle.
So does that mean like a more shallow face on a bigger top is
I'd almost say a more open face.
I'd probably
more-
rather go open
more
too.
open?
Yeah, and then I wonder if you do a Humboldt cut, because if it's a 45, it could kind of sit on that face a little bit, and it depends on how big it is, and a bunch of stuff. But I can imagine it sitting on that face and just holding that energy a little longer. Where if it was a Humboldt cut, so that the bottom of the cut was the angle, if it could start sliding off a little bit sooner.
I
It slides
see.
down and changes. I use the Humboldt, like the Humboldt cut is my go-to face cut for everything that I
Huh.
do. Like
Yeah.
unless I'm on the ground and I'm taking I'm cutting the very bottom of the tree, I always do Humboldt cut. It's just I'm better with it. I'm better at lining it up, and that's just my favorite cut. So, and I find that the forces are a lot different and less extreme, I think, with the Humboldt cut. Just
Because it has that slide.
because you
So
have
it's
more
like
of that
more
slide.
gradual into it and not so like
Exactly, and it feels like it pushes the stem and the branch or whatever you're taking, the top or whatever you're taking out away from you versus just snapping straight down. If that makes sense,
it does.
Yeah, it slides off. Right?
Slides off and goes away from
Yeah.
where you're.
It
cutting.
doesn't snap off, it slides off.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not that practiced with the Humboldt personally, but that's just because I only learned one way.
The farmer cut.
Yeah,
Conventional.
the old
The farmer
traditional
cut.
So a lot of times what I would do if it's a big one and I was worried about it getting caught up on it is I'd do a standard face cut, and then I'd just cut like a 45-degree angle off of the flat part.
Okay.
So it gave
Just
it
off the
the edge.
the outer edge of it.
The outer edge, exactly. So as it goes over, when it goes, it has like a point where it's going to pivot and slide off
So
of.
it's like open on both.
Yeah, fully open on the top, and then
like partially open on the bottom.
3/4 of the way it would be solid, and then a quarter of it
Yeah.
I'd
So
cut off.
almost like a open face cut, just with a little bit less open.
Yeah. Well, it
It's like a smirk.
It's
because
like a smirk.
that
Not a
way
smile.
it would the way I thought of it, and I haven't really talked to anybody about it or tried to confirm it, but what made sense in my mind is you'd have the advantages of it closing like on the standard one, but then it would have that advantage of it having an angle it could slide off of.
Right.
That's
I mean,
of the
it
Humboldt.
makes sense because you'd be snapping the fibers. It would be easier to pivot on that point and snap
Yeah.
those fibers, transferring a lot of that energy straight down versus.
But once they were
Back
broken, it wouldn't be just staying there. It'd have
Yeah.
a little ramp to slide off on.
Interesting.
I don't know if it worked or
Oh.
not. It just made sense in my
Yeah.
mind.
That makes a lot of sense in my mind too. I have so many things I want to try.
Yeah, I usually go pretty open when I do tops now, when I'm rigging tops.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And then also small tops, small problems.
Yeah.
I'm not as
Yeah.
nervous of a climber now, I know like the tree can hold me,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, my one of the guys who taught me, he would say like, imagine a 2x4, like how hard is that to break? That
Yeah.
skinny little piece,
Or like a 4x4,
Yeah.
which is just like a little piece,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, I always
That's true.
challenge people to do like the Coke can or the Red Bull challenge, where you try to take a top the size of a Coke can or a Red Bull,
Oh, nice.
and then see if you can't take a top that you can just hold.
That's true. I think you've brought that up. It's like, oh, it's badass to take a big top. It's pretty badass to see how small of a top you can take. You know?
The
Especially
danger
on like
is
a really tall conifer.
yeah. The danger is don't get crazy. Don't hurt. You know.
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
break
no,
it
no,
out.
no.
Like, but like, you know, if you know the person's not missing a screw.
Yeah, not
you know?
that's not a challenge.
Army
Yeah.
doll.
Yeah.
It's just a point.
Yeah.
It's like the smaller top, small problems, and
Yeah.
you're pretty badass if you're getting
Oh.
up there and taking small tops.
Yeah. And it teaches you to kind of work within your fear a little bit more.
That's
Yeah.
Because
true.
it's a little scarier to go up there, and, you know, taking
Yeah.
a big top is more you succumbing to your fear and being like, I don't want to go any higher. I'm just going to bomb a big top.
Right.
And there's situations, there's certain trees where you climb where you're like, fuck it, I'm sending the top, you
or
know?
it's just like faster to do it that way. If
Yeah,
there's enough
totally.
room for that to
If you're
be
not
the case,
catching it.
but-
Yeah.
If you have to rig it, and, you know, that's when it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And there's something that's awesome about sending big tops. I've got
Yeah.
I've got some videos where me and Rob are doing these removals right next to each other, and I've got videos of Rob taking the biggest freaking tops. I'll have to try to find them to see if we can put them on the Facebook. Cause
just sending them, not catching
just like
them,
70-foot tops.
Yeah,
You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I might have already told this story, but it was like a month or so ago. Like, boss was like, so like climb up halfway and then like send half the tree
Yeah.
and then come down to the ground and like fell it because we had enough room to do that.
Yeah.
I was like, should I like limit up on the way? He's like, no. Like, okay.
Was that the fur where we did a bunch of fur removal?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, like way out upriver kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that was weird. I took a little bit of a few limbs off the backside just for like for weight,
Yeah.
just to make sure it went where we wanted it to. But I'd never just like sent half of a tree in one.
We're
you know.
topping now.
Yeah. And the whole time I was just like, I had to really talk myself into doing that because I was always taught small cuts, small problems. You know, like.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to manipulate something if it starts going the wrong way, if it's a little bit more like close to how much you weigh.
Right.
Not like an entire other tree above you but it was a good experience and I'm glad there was an open drop zone. Open enough, you know.
Yeah.
It's like kind of in between a chicken coop and a house, but
It kind of
Well, then you had to fell the rest of the tree, and it was like, you know, not a lot of room for error.
yeah,
Yeah, you did great.
thanks. It was the first time using the 500 too.
Oh, nice. I haven't used one of those
Can't
yet.
fuck this up.
Oh man,
There.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
They
yeah,
are nice.
Jamie brought one to the job last weekend,
Yeah.
and that
Oh,
thing,
nice.
that thing rips.
Yeah, they're
Mhm.
sweet.
That is a
Oh, man.
great
Yeah.
saw.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
basically didn't even fell that tree. The saw just did it.
Yeah, just
It knew what it was doing.
yeah. You're really just there to hold the saw up because it doesn't have legs to stand up on
basically.
its own.
Yeah, I'm its legs.
Yeah,
Yeah, it speaks though to the idea of that balance between small cut, small problems and production work.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times the idea is get it on the ground, especially if you got a big ground crew. You get it down fast, it'll get cleaned up fast, and you're on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's times where it's like, oh yeah, I can send a huge top.
right.
Because
Yeah.
we got all this space, got all these people. Like,
Yeah.
this is perfect.
And that's
Right.
fun too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Right,
so
but when you're in production work and you smash somebody's fucking fence, then
yeah. Well, yeah,
all that production, all that speed just goes right out the window. So I mean, you're right. It
that's
is,
the small cut,
Yeah,
small
that's
problem
that's a small
thing.
cut.
Tickling that. Yeah.
you have to be able to do both and know when to use each one in the appropriate situation.
Most
Yeah.
definitely.
Hold yourself back.
Yeah, I can send an 80-foot top. That fence is far. It's good, man. Don't worry about the comm line.
Don't worry, it's just internet.
It's just internet.
Yeah.
Nobody needs that.
Nobody needs that.
You guys have any gaff out stories?
Oh, you know, the worst gaff out I had was at a tree that was growing at a real extreme angle, and it was a real heavy top. And I remember telling the person just to let it run. You know, don't just let it go, but just slowly, you know, don't just stop it and just, you know, slowly apply pressure or this thing's going to launch me. And sure enough, the person just lost control. I don't know if they panicked or what, but I sent it, and they just locked up and then let go. And the thing just loaded and then launched me. And I was kind of like on top of it, cutting this thing, and it was one of those things where next thing you know, I was just like thrown up and fully despurred, and because it was growing. It was more than a 45-degree angle, like 40-degree angle is going really far out there. And so I just like kind of went around the tree a couple times. It was just, and it just fucked me up.
Shit.
Yeah, it just like, yeah, that was by far that's the only time I've had one of those like whip. And it's, like I say it like it's the ground guy's fault there. And that goes back to the small cut, small problems. That was me trying to go through it. And I remember the job. There's a lot on the job, and it wasn't a very good bid. And it was a situation where I was just like, all right, I'm just going to run up here, send this big top, and I'm going to, have this person. And they were very experienced with the lowdown, and that's why I was like, all right, I'm going to have them run it, and we're going to, it'll be all right. But it's a different enough situation, and people, even really experienced people make mistakes.
It's true.
And, I don't know what it was. It could have been a situation where it was where they, stepped on the rope on accident.
Yeah.
Or, it was wrapped around a stub or, so I say it when I was telling
curl in the rope or something.
Totally, where, but it could have been that they were trying to let it run and it just locked up on them or whatever.
There was too much friction or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
And it was one of those learning moments where you're like, all right, it's a bad bid. We've all dealt with them. I've had them before. I'll have them again. Don't let those bad bids slow you down or affect your decision-making process. It's okay to still go slow and steady as fast.
It takes as long as it takes.
Exactly.
I
And
love
Rob
that.
brought up not too long ago, he runs a big successful company here in Eugene, and he had said like, it could be a bad bid and the company's still making money. It could be a great bid and the company's losing money. Like it's not something to stress over. He's like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's the thing. If someone is hurt and is out for a little while because they're hurt, then you got a bad bid and your guy's out and you're losing money. Where, if you take a little bit more time, what's it take another 45 minutes to whittle it down and work your way out and send a smaller top? 45 minutes, that's nothing compared to someone being out for a couple days.
Yeah.
I have
Or a couple weeks.
Fixing a fence, like you were saying.
Or fixing a fence.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Take
like
another trip out to the job site and
that
spend
like
a whole day.
Yeah.
Monster Energy drink and cigarettes for breakfast kind of situation.
That's what I had this morning.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
I had a great gaff out story. It was my very first time sending any top at all, and it was this super dead fucking birch in the front yard of this guy. He had like 28 chickens in his backyard. I ended up calling it Chicken Sanctuary. Totally not related to this, but there were lots of chickens there. But it was this crispy dead birch, and I was working with Adam and went up, and he was just like, yeah, well, and I was using a choker system on it. It was like maybe my third or fourth time in gaffs ever. Mm-hmm. This was just last year. And he showed me this, he sent me up like a bunch of slings and was like, just choke where it starts getting suspicious. Like, just like choke it and then put your tie, like your line through it, through a carabiner, and then you have redundancy in your system. And I'm like putting it like every foot and a half because it was so dead and so punky that I was gaffing out like every step that I took, and I'm like so not used to climbing in spurs and and it was a very dead birch tree, so I was just like every other step I made, I was just like, and there were these two like old crotchety guys on the porch across the street, and they were just like laughing every time I gaffed out.
The fucking peanut
And I was
gallery.
just like, oh no. I'm like, oh man, I'm so bad at this, and they know it. They know I have no idea what I'm doing. It's so clear.
The person who taught me said something, and it stuck with me, and I'll tell other people, is set your spikes like you mean it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you told me that, and ever since then I'm like, fuck you, tree.
Yeah.
But the thing too about that is like before I was like, I'm just gonna like use it like it's an escalator, and now I use it like it's a fucking mechanical bull. Like you come in at that shit sideways, you know?
Yep.
Like you're not stepping up like it's stairs. You're coming in like, like karate chop.
Yeah.
Which that's great. Yeah, watching people that are good at it do it is another
Or
helpful thing.
set them with purpose is what he said.
Yeah.
He had a way with words. It wasn't set them like you mean it.
Yeah.
Set them with
Set 'em
purpose.
with
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a great way to say it. Set them with purpose.
Yeah.
And
with
you
purpose.
did that in that locust on Wednesday, and then you heard that crack. I remember.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you were like,
crispy locust.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of the leads were really crispy, and yeah, I gaff in and like, I'm like, whoa.
yeah, but you were setting them with purpose. You were like,
Yeah.
you were really sinking in, and it cracked. I'm like, so I was trying to, I got to a point in that birch where I was noticing that I had not a lot to stand on. And it was just really soft, and like bugs were coming out of the holes. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, oh shit.
Yummy.
So then he showed me that like sling with the carabiner, and then like, you know, if you just go up a little bit higher, and then you have that like kind of safety net. And then I sent a very small top, which at the time seemed massive to me, of course. But I was just like, oh man, oh my god, what a rush. But I remember just like trying to step like they were stairs and just peeling the, you know,
Yeah, just gaffing out.
just absolutely not sinking into that tree at all.
Your loopy thing. So you had a choking system, and
Yeah.
then it's almost like you're lead climbing. And
Yeah,
rock
so
climbing,
you have like a choke where you're comfortable,
yeah.
and then you take the tail and you put it through, like you have a sling around the
Yeah,
lead
I
you're
gotcha.
scared to come up, and then another sling and another sling with carabiners, and then you just stick the rope through all those carabiners.
Okay.
Just like lead climbing.
Kinda,
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool trick. I've never
Yeah.
done that, but
I did it once, and I haven't done it since then, but when I did it, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't know if I'm doing this right, and I'm really scared, but I feel safer because you're, you know.
yeah, no, I've always just I've like choked off below me, but that's never a good feeling, especially the higher up you go. You're like, well, it'd be, especially if you're 80 feet off the ground. You're like, well, at least I'm not falling all the way down.
I'm only
think
falling
that-
60 feet.
Yeah.
That was the idea with this is like, like you have your safe choke
Yeah.
down where it's safe, but then you have like a bunch of redundancy, like 4 or 5 additional chokes.
Well, and if
Where,
they
like,
failed,
if-
that each
if
one
one-
would slow you a little bit
Every
as
single
it
one of
failed.
them would fail
Yeah.
like, in like a sliding,
I mean, it's still super sketchy, the
It's
idea
not
of it,
fun.
but it's way better than not having it. If you're in
Exactly.
that situation, I'd rather have it than not have it. So that's cool. Next time I'm in one of
Yeah.
those situations, that's what I'm going to do.
And again, it takes a little bit more time for setup, and it's like kind of ridiculous, but
It
but
takes no
to
time.
take
Yeah.
a smaller top basically,
it's-
and to
Yeah.
if
Well
you're
worth
already
the time.
gaffing out to the point where you're like, there's still like 20 feet of tree, and there's not enough room for me to send a 20-foot top, then that's what I was advised to do, and it turned out great.
The only kind of scary thing about that, well, I mean, there's you're climbing a dead tree, so that's scary in and of itself. But the other scary thing about that is if the top breaks, then it would come down on top of you. But again, if you're climbing a dead tree, you're probably not too concerned about that because it's probably going to be a dead punky birch.
Yeah, you
or-
can just like flick it, and
Yeah.
it'll go.
and
Like,
it'll
all the way-
it'll break apart before it actually connects with you, kind of thing.
And the other thing I'll do when I'm gaffing out is I try to step on to right above the old cuts.
Yeah.
So if you spur right above, those knots, then you're less likely to spur out.
that's true. The wood
Yeah.
is like stronger there.
Yeah, you're standing kind of on the branch that's still within the tree. So, like a lot of times when you spur into like you're climbing a fir and you spur in, it'll like travel down an elevator, But if there's a knot there, if you just spur right above that knot, then
It locks right in.
it locks right in.
and,
Yeah,
like,
it's
the-
a great way
the
to do it.
tension side on the branch catches you kind of.
I just like to leave every cut as a stub, and then I could just stand on them.
You just build your own ladder.
Build my own ladder. Yeah, man.
Some people really do that.
They do that.
Yeah.
And when I was a less experienced climber, I did that, and then
I mean, it has its advantages depending on what the scope of work is.
yeah,
But
there's a time and a place, but
Yeah.
it's more.
I mean, if
bad.
it's a full removal,
it's
you're
more
pro-
bad than good.
Yeah,
I've seen-
there's exceptions to every rule.
Yeah. I've seen people do it, and ropes get all like oh, I'm gonna rig this piece of wood, and then all these rigging ropes and climb ropes, everything gets caught and twisted all around these stubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go down and undo a loop, and I never do that.
Sometimes I'll leave a stub or two at the very top. You know, I'm at the very top, and it's kind of it's comforting. You know.
Oh, if you're sending a top,
some handlebars. to
I've
hold on
definitely
to.
held left handlebars on the top,
Yeah.
and that's how we used to rope trees down. Is we would I would leave a couple branches there, and then you just throw the rope over those branches, and then use those. You know,
as their friction.
Yeah, and you could lower it down yourself if you wrap what you do is you'd wrap it around the tree and then up over the branches, and then you'd have a wrap, and you'd send the top and just let it fly and smoke on down.
Do you know who Randy is the Mandy on Instagram?
Oh yeah, that's exactly how we always used to do it.
He's always posting videos of that.
Yeah, I love watching those videos.
See the rope
man.
smoking.
Randy is the Mandy.
Yeah, I've
It burned through some rigging ropes pretty quick.
Yeah, that gets expensive real fast.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a reason I use a pulley now.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to those stubs, I have, just through laziness, like I was doing a multi-stem cedar, and one of the stems I left a stub near the top of it, and I think I used it. So I'll usually leave stubs for my rigging gear, and that's what I'll put my rigging gear on, because I'm just kind of paranoid that the rigging gear is going to slide down the stem.
Yeah.
So I just like to have a little backup. It's not a long stub. It's just, a short little stub. But I had left that completely alone, and I didn't clean it up. And I was like, well, you should probably clean this up. And I'm like, nah, it'll be fine. Go back over to the other stem, take the top out of it. It hangs up on that stub. Drops.
The second you think of it, you're
It'll
going
find
to
that
do
stub.
it.
Yeah. Drops down 40 feet and then just shock loads the shit out of the whole system. And I'm like rocking up there in this tiny little cedar, and it was a bad day. But yeah, every time I leave a stub, I regret it.
Yep. Every time, if you leave a stub down low, any piece you rig is going to find it and hang up on it.
It's a magnet.
Yeah.
Even if you're not rigging, sometimes that's
It's going to find it and hang up on it, or your rope's wrapped around it.
Man, like one of the first times I did like a canopy lift on a Doug fir, I left a bunch of stubs. I'm like, I'll enjoy these on my way down when I have something to stand on, and like some,
No.
There was like one cut I made where I was standing on the stubs. I'm like, this is why I left the stubs. And then you know what happened? As soon as I made that cut, can you guess?
It got
hung up on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
Couldn't have guessed that.
So, yeah. Stubs are bad.
Stubs are bad, okay.
Stubbs was here.
Yeah.
Stubs. Although I am curious, I've been wondering about this for a while. Like, some trees are obviously better compartmentalizers than others. So is there...
Birches are the best.
Willow's got it.
Oh, yeah, willows.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man. Shut up. Both of you.
Anyway.
But is there...
Back to the story.
I'm wondering, like, there are some instances where it's like you have to take out, like, say, a codominant top, and it's like growing upright next to another leader. And maybe this is a dumb question.
No,
There's
But
no such
depending
thing.
on
There's
the
no dumb
tree,
questions.
right?
Yeah.
Except for the stupid ones I ask. But if you leave a stub on that one to slow the decay to the trunk,
it's an interesting thing.
yeah,
'Cause-
because it's like right there, and now it's freshly exposed and
Yeah.
it's upright, so it's like really susceptible.
And you're talking about a codom, right?
just like as an example.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
typically a codominant stem, there's no branch collar at the union,
Mhm.
right?
exactly.
Which is where
That's where
Code
all
it
the
happens
code it
best.
magic is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All those cells are prepped for that
yeah.
action. So
So you're talking about setting the tree up for success if you've got to make a
Yeah.
big cut and you're trying to keep the decay from traveling down that big cut
Yeah,
into
like,
the trunk.
how can it most successfully seal in that situation? How can the tree, and it's probably species dependent.
Yep.
Yeah.
How can you, like, is it and it looks stupid and shitty and like poor practice to leave a stub, but are there instances that you guys have come across that you could think of where you're like, maybe it's not such a bad idea to leave like a little bit more just to slow that to right to the trunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully you can find a reduction, like something to cut it back to.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think I've ever removed a whole codominant stem,
Yeah.
you know, and maybe when I was first starting, 'cause I thought it was a good idea or something, but I don't think I would anymore. It's find a reduction for it.
Yep. That's always like with a fur with codoms, you know, I've always found something to cut it back to. Even if it's a big old rip out and you just leave it, you know, you're cutting a big fat fur trunk back to just some branches coming out the side.
Yeah.
I'll still cut them back. And then there's been situations in storm work in particular is kind of when I'm thinking about it. When you get oaks and stuff that are big, like scaffolds that are ripped out, and you're like, well, fuck, either I cut this back and it's, you know, I'm cutting this big scaffold back on this 70-foot oak and I'm going to cut it, you know, make this huge cut 20 feet up it. Or I can kind of leave a stub and there's just these little branches. You're not, you know, it's not an appropriate pruning cut, but this is the option I got. I'll cut it back to those branches because in my mind, you're at least giving it a chance and slowing the process. And even if it dies, you know, so, you know, when we're working for the city, we don't have to talk to the client. But if you're working, you know, residential, you might talk to the client and explain what the thought process is. You know, hey, I'm going to cut it back to this. It still could die back.
Yeah.
If
like
it dies back, give me a call.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm giving it a chance and I'm trying to extend the process out and keep the decay away from the trunk as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know, but there's some of those situations where you can't follow, you know, Shigo's rule of 1/3, you know, or of 2/3, you know. So, you know, you kind of have to work with what you got. But usually it's those extreme storm situations in my experience.
Where there's already been like the tear already happened, so you just have to basically do what your best judgment.
You're doing damage control
Yeah.
at that point.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah, another instance I could see where it would be beneficial in leaving a bit of a stub on a codominant stem. So if you can remove the entire thing, or you know you feel like you can remove the entire thing, but it's included to the point where cutting into it will damage the stem that you're trying to leave. If you know what I'm talking about, like they're grown so closely together that maybe one's like completely
that
enveloped.
You would have to leave a stub to get to the point where the inclusion ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to leave a stub, otherwise.
As per Edward Gilman's An Illustrated Guide to Pruning.
Oh yeah.
3rd edition.
Yeah.
Page 80-something.
Stormwork is a perfect example of that.
Beautiful.
Doing a lot of that up in Salem, and Elwood put it, he said traditional arboriculture goes out the window in a storm, you know, because of all these big, beautiful white oaks, like you were saying. If you were trying to make proper cuts all over, you'd be mutilating these trees, whereas you can make a heading cut, and our Oregon white oaks are super strong compartmentalizers. They can bounce back from these. They're going to sprout out. You do canopy restoration later on, and
that's how it kind of was last week. We did a bunch of we did some clearance and what was it? Restoration pruning on some sycamores that had just been like stubbed and then sprouted out.
Yeah,
so it was like, you know, they would have like 6 or 7 foot long fat like branches and then sprouts that it made it look like there were a bunch of spider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good example. Total stub heading
Yeah.
cut, and these sycamores just like, I don't care. I'm gonna keep pushing out branches. Like,
But sycamores have really obvious branch collars.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, so this is where the proper cut is. But almost every single time in that instance, because it was that type of a pruning, it looked like we had been leaving giant stubs because like the branch collar was like way, it looked like a stub, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
oh, they're very pronounced
Yeah.
branch collars. Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't know what to
They're
look
showing
for,
off,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Was this in a parking lot off 13th?
It's in a parking lot.
Springfield.
Off
Springfield,
Gateway.
okay.
Behind the Taco Bell off Gateway.
And
Oh,
Kentucky
okay.
Fried
Yeah.
Chicken.
Oh, yeah. So if
Yeah.
you're ever
Oh,
out there.
I know that spot.
Did you guys get yourself some double downs while you're there?
Dude, we got a bucket.
Yeah. And a bowl.
Nice.
And a Mountain Dew, damn it.
What was your commercial for KFC?
Oh, it was like I saw it was on the internet. It was just like KFC, and it said bucket $12.
That was it.
I'm like, come get your
Bucket.
fucking bucket, you fat fuck.
Shit. I know what I'm doing after the podcast.
Get a bucket of
KFC.
KFC.
Bucket.
$12.
Yeah.
We saw a dude chilling behind the Taco Bell on his
yeah.
on his lunch break or whatever. He probably goes there every day, chills and smokes a cigarette
Obviously,
or
he
whatever.
goes there every day.
Yeah, and then I'm back there raking, and I noticed there was like 20 empty packs of cigarettes like back there. So he
Like,
has
they
a
were
cigarette.
all
And
like
he's just
Camel
like,
Blues.
but he's
Jeez.
right behind a dumpster. Like, he is right.
If you're
next
gonna
to
pick a
dumpster.
spot,
And I'm
You
like,
could throw those
You could-
cigarette packs.
flick it in.
It probably actually took him more effort to throw them on the ground than it did. to
Not
throw 'em.
butts. I bet there were a lot of butts. I don't recall seeing them.
there was just empty packs.
but
I didn't
empty
see very
packs of
many
cigarettes.
butts. And, like,
Really?
everywhere.
there was
yeah.
a disproportionate amount of empty cigarette packs to butts.
butts, yeah.
Maybe he'd flick the butts into
ratio was off.
the
don't
dumpster and then
know.
just throw the pack on the ground.
It was wild working there though. Like, but it's like pruning on that side. People were just like, park right there, like make eye contact with me while I'm in this sycamore. Like they're like, and they're like taking their phones out, like
Oh, really?
like eating burritos and taking
Yeah.
pictures. And I'm like,
yeah.
why would you park there?
And
What?
we're not working on that
Yeah,
side
I'm
at
like,
all,
yeah.
you know. But
So you were working on the sycamores that were just west of those parking spots.
Yeah. So the client. was
I've
on
worked
the
on
other
those
side of the
trees.
spot.
I've worked on those trees before,
Okay.
probably 15 years ago.
nice.
Like me and Jeff Penny. So because I was working with Jeff, I know it was within the first 5-6 years of my career.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, I remember that spot.
And Andrew probably left some of those stub cuts for you there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, you
probably.
mean the spiders?
Yeah, probably.
They're really cool. I love sycamores. They're like as spicy as they are, especially this time of year. I love like all of the weird animal faces and like
Oh yeah.
just branch angles and
They're-
how easy they are
They're
to.
really cool trees.
They're very friendly to climb too.
Super fun climb.
I had
Yeah.
a fun time with the sycamore 2 or 3 weeks ago. So this sycamore had wisteria growing up into it, which was just
Beautiful.
yeah. That's the word I would use to describe it too. So wisteria growing up into it, right? And it was bad. Like it was all the way up to the top of the tree. So we weren't going to clear out the entire thing because it's for the city, so it's just about safety. So we got all the big stuff out of there, which was a huge headache. It had branches that were growing out towards the house, so I cut those back so it wouldn't get any more wisteria growing into it. Dialed it in, looked pretty good. It was miserable because it was a sycamore and I was sucking down the pollen and all of that the whole time. Get down out of the tree, everything's good to go. Week later, find out that they're removing it because of the sidewalk conflict. So all of that misery, all of that suffering. And I thought this tree was going to live for fucking ever, and now it's going
What a bummer.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
to.
I love that story.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. Every tree Corey climbs, I start pointing out, like, yeah, there's a little sidewalk damage here, man.
I was in some sweet gums this week, and tried pulling
Yeah,
up.
there's
There was
probably a good inch and a half, an inch lift on the sidewalk. He's like, dude, you know what's happening to these sweet gums as soon as you get out? I'm putting an RFS in the sidewalk crew.
Oh man.
That sweet gum also had wisteria in it.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
It did.
Full circle.
Well, not yet. It will be soon, though.
Yeah, the circle hasn't closed yet.
Adam and I were joking about how sweet gums do so well over here. They're like, felt cute. Might rip up your sidewalk later. IDK. Micro-codominant stems. IDK.
Might fall apart in a slight breeze.
Beautiful fall colors might
How
destroy
cute,
your
though.
shit later.
Yeah. Oh, they're great trees for your yard.
For the first 30 feet.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
They're
No,
pretty.
They're pretty.
I got a little update of a story. Last week we talked about the saw over at Mr. Chainsaw. So if you're in Eugene or near us, definitely 2 thumbs up to Mr. Chainsaw. I had my Husky 540i, and I second time I turned it on, 3 hours into owning it, and it was shooting sparks out the side, and pulled the battery, ran it outside because I was worried it was going to burned down the garage with how many. I mean, there was like sparks / flame shooting 6 inches out the side of it. And brought it into him, was like, hey man, I don't know what's going on with this thing. A couple days later, call me up, got another one for you, come down, we're gonna just give you a brand new one, replace it. So
Nice.
they done me right again. I've been working with them for years, 20 some years now, and still doing it right. So shout out to Mr. Chainsaw.
Did they find all the baked beans Corey and I poured into it?
yeah, they did.
Well, it wasn't
but
just beans.
that
There
wasn't
was
an issue.
So
Yeah, for some reason.
okay, cool.
testament to Huskies. They
Yeah.
on baked beans.
Yeah. No, he said it was the first time he saw anybody pour baked beans into a saw and blow it up like that.
Usually the baked beans help.
yeah.
I'm doing this to all my other styles.
Yeah.
Oh,
But had to give him a shout out because there was no
nice.
finagling, no even like bringing up their warranty. Just brought it in, they checked it out, and called me back a day or two later saying, "Yep, come get your new saw."
Nice.
So
That's great.
yeah, I was a little worried because it's been, watching Corey wait the last 6 months to try to get one of those saws. I finally get one and it goes down, and it's like, well, it's gonna be fucking 6 months until I get a replacement saw if they even work with me.
Corey, did you look at his bar and chain and see if? I mean, you're pretty sure that's what's going on.
No,
right?
no. I got a new one.
Oh.
I went and talked to the guys who sold me the saw, and they'd put the wrong.
They were
Bar
like,
and chain.
put some beans on it.
Yeah, put some beans on it. Rub some beans in there. Yep.
Yeah, the chain was really big.
Yeah, it was. So the one I got that they gave to me was a .325, which is the right pitch on it, but the gauge was .050, and the gauge on this should be .043,
Okay.
which is it's a whole new thing. So it wasn't working correctly on the sprocket, and it wasn't like the bar and the chain were matched up correctly, but it wasn't matched up correctly with the sprocket on
Got it.
the saw. So bit of an issue there.
That's important.
It is important. It's the little things. It's the little things. But
It's the big things.
it's the the bar and the chain.
Those are big things.
It is what does the cutting, and it's the reason you have the
Sprocket
chainsaw.
kind of makes
Corey's holding the Husqvarna. Was it 541i?
I think technically it's like a T540i.
It is the T540i by Husqvarna.
He's holding
Okay,
it
he's
on
holding
his
it.
lap like how Santa Claus
Yeah.
would hold the child
And
on his
it's
lap.
right by our podcast table, and I kind of want to see how quickly will it get through this table.
Yeah.
Let's find out. It's not my tables.
Not my table, not
We
my
could move those
problem.
wires,
Yeah.
or we could just see what happens.
Yeah. You can mark it if you want.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I thought about it though. I did think about
I
it.
saw you thinking,
This-
wow, for the first time.
It happens rarely, but it does happen.
Yeah, I mean,
Dude, you've got the 300 on here.
fuck yeah.
This is
That's nice.
that is heavy. That's some heavy shit.
The
right there.
battery itself is heavy.
Yeah,
It's a bigger battery.
it's
Yeah.
the because I've got the 200 on mine, but
Holy shit.
he's got stronger wrists than I have. He'll let you make whatever inference you will about that.
You guys. Again. The sexual tension between you two is terrible.
It's killing me right now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know where to go from there.
anyone got anything else?
Yeah.
No, that I can't top that.
Yeah. Neither can I.
Oh,
We know.
we were on a job site and someone pulled up. We were in Springfield.
Oh yeah.
Someone pulled up, and this neighborhood was wild. There was like
a guy walking a goat.
a guy walking a goat,
That's fantastic.
kids on bikes. It reminded me of a neighborhood I grew up
Oh
on.
man,
Like
they're like
bike gangs, little kids on bikes everywhere.
Five like
Oh, that's awesome.
overweight ginger 10-year-old boys on bikes that
Yeah.
were just like expressionlessly watching us feed brush into the shit.
It's like go-karts, dirt bikes, like everything.
They look like clones.
And then there,
I want to move there. This sounds awesome.
there was a slow children at play sign, and this was funny. Some guy in a big jacked up pickup comes ripping through the neighborhood with dirt bikes in the back and stuff, and my coworker Sean was like, "Slow children and fast dads."
Nice.
But
that was
then
the same place as I wasn't there, but I guess some guy came up and was like, arborist, huh?
Yeah, this is what I was gonna tell you.
And our coworker Mark is like, yep. And the guy's like, y'all chopping some shit? Or no, you guys chopping some shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, so now we always are like, you guys
chopping some shit.
You guys
chopping some shit.
And then it was like, cool, and he drove away. Arborist, huh?
It's funny how many people have been arborists. You know, working, I always run, oh, yeah, I used to be a tree guy.
Yeah.
I used to do that. And I'm sure you did, buddy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
That was an arborist.
I was that one, but I don't have my spikes.
Yeah. I was an arborist for a week. I got kicked off the crew.
I used
Actually,
to be an arborist. Like screaming over a running chipper with no PPE on. You're like, no, you weren't.
I remember one of my first jobs working for the city. It was actually helping build some of the Amex or EMX stuff running through town. And we were on 11th Street, kind of near Garfield, I think. Right near that intersection.
Mm-hmm.
And we were chipping, and some guy comes walking out of the alleyway, and he just like very aggressively starts pointing to the chipper, and he's like, "Chipper, me? Like, can I help you? Like, with this job site? No PPE. You know, he's just
He wanted to
he
help.
he wanted to help. He really wanted to help.
You should have hired that guy.
I should have hired him on the spot, but it wasn't going to
He
happen.
sounds qualified.
But there were no words exchanged between us. It was just him aggressively pointing, and I'm like, no.
That's
no.
going to be me in 30 years.
That's going to be you in 30 years.
He was trying to get hired on with hand signals.
He was trying to get, yeah.
Sorry, this is a podcast. That joke didn't work with me motioning like that.
Andrew is aggressively signaling with his hands right now, for those of you at home.
Trying to get hired on.
Trying to get hired on. But yeah, that was the first and last interview that was nonverbal and exclusively with hand signals.
That's pretty cool.
Did he get it?
No, he didn't.
No.
I remember
You may have missed out, dude.
Probably.
when I was working in Ashland, driving the chip truck back to the lot, and there's this corner store in Ashland where a lot of like the, punk rock, traveler kid types, crusty kids hang out, And I drive, and there's a stoplight right there, and one of them yells at me. He's like, "Hey, man, is it true someone will pay you $10 an hour to feed a chipper?" I was like, "Yeah, someone will definitely pay you $10 an hour to feed a chipper."
You're hired.
It's not me, but someone will pay you $10 an hour.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Really, $10?
yeah, $10.
Wow. I feel like I've been getting a ripoff.
Yeah, you got an hour? You can help us clean up right now. Oh.
I've also had, I was in Medford at a grocery store right after work, and I just hear, hey, like aggressive yelling. So I look, and the guy's yelling at me. And I'm like, okay. And he comes up to me walking really fast, really intense. I think there may have been, drug use, at least in his past or maybe currently or whatever, but yelling at me very aggressively, comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, you do tree work? You guys hiring?" Like, no. You were just screaming at me from across the grocery store.
It's amazing how many people just come up asking for a job for
Yeah.
tree work. Like, what other profession do you have people just walk up to you like, "Hey, I used to do that. Can I get a job? You guys hiring?"
You should
Yeah,
refer him to one of the 7,000 people that are looking for reliable. Oh wait, never mind.
Well, if someone
That's the
approached me like, "Hey, what's up, man? You do
Yeah.
tree work?" But this guy was yelling at me across this grocery store and then approaching me very intensely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He knew what he wanted, and he was going to get it,
Yeah.
or he thought he was.
He has leadership
I don't even
qualities.
know.
Yeah.
We might have been hiring. I was just like, no.
Not you.
He could have been a new foreman for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Pro tip 1, when trying to get on a crew, don't yell at the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
All right. Well, I don't know. You guys, I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping it up. And
Yeah.
anybody
Cool.
have anything else?
No, just
Any final thoughts?
I've used all my thoughts.
Yeah.
my final thoughts are just very similar to my beginning thoughts, which are like, if if you think you know what you're doing just because you've been doing it the whole time that you've been doing this, just like check yourself and look and see what other people are doing, because maybe you're doing something one way that seems right to you, but it's like actually fucking stupid. Like keeping your carrot tool on the left side of your saddle. Maybe. And that's it. That's all I got. Thanks.
Just like maybe there's an easier way
like,
to do things.
Yeah, maybe like the way that you think you know how to do something isn't like the smartest or most efficient or safest way.
Yeah.
So
Or like my double lanyard
exactly
conifer removal things.
Yeah.
Constantly evolve.
Don't forget
Yeah.
that you have a community at your disposal, and you know there are lower D's, there are upper D's. There's
And
2 sides on your hips.
yeah,
And a
and
bridge.
if you got any questions, reach out to us.
Yeah.
TreeThinkingPodcast@gmail.com. We would love to answer any questions you got, so shoot them our way.
And if we don't have an answer, we will fake one.
100%. Yeah.
Corey will.
Well,
I'm great at that.
I just
Hey,
like to
me
say
too.
right or wrong, we'll give you an answer.
Well,
Yeah. There'll be an answer.
We
That'll be
we
great.
didn't specify right answers.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. We will answer any question.
You are 10 steps ahead.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know about that. What I would just like to kind of go back to the slow is steady and steady is fast. You don't need to rush anything. Just because you got a low bid doesn't mean you got to push through it and risk doing something stupid. We've all done it. Sometimes it's backfired, and just no need to do that. So take your time, do it right. And
I got something to say.
yeah.
It's slow is smooth. Smooth is fast.
Yeah. Either way, it's the same thing.
I think that's the quote, though.
Yeah.
Steady.
I'm
Because steady sounds slow to me, right?
Well, yes,
Smooth
That's
is
2
like
syllables?
smooth can be fast.
but steady is fast too because you're steadily making progress.
I don't know if you're at a steady pace, you're at a very slow pace.
Yeah,
But-
like
but
a,
if
but you're
like a,
slow and
like a,
smooth.
Yeah.
a snail is
I just Googled
steady.
it too. I put
Yeah.
slow is, and it put smooth. Smooth
Yeah,
is fast.
I that's probably the right thing.
wow.
I've been saying slow is steady and steady is fast so long that it, is what it is.
I've been
I
wanting
think
to
it's
correct you for months, and I've had
No.
2 beers, and I'm like,
You're
Andrew,
right.
I Googled it.
It's sandwich.
Yeah, it's the sandwich thing all over again.
Yeah.
I'm
So,
sorry I ruined your outro.
No, slow is steady and steady is fast.
Smooth.
Smooth.
Slow is smooth.
Stay safe. And whoa.